I think jealousy and evil eye and even gossip from people that are surrounding you is something that you will have to deal with if you are putting yourself out there in any way or going after your dream, or especially being out there on social media publicly. But I think it's good to learn some tools on how to really handle it and how to understand that it's sort of part of the deal, or it's like part of the game, or it's part of the energy dynamics of this world. And what you realize is the more you expand, the more you come into your power, there will be people that will be triggered by that. It could be friends, family, people close to you that no longer feel comfortable, or there's like a vibrational distance. There's like a wall, like an invisible glass wall of some kind, where you feel like people are not supportive because they feel like, especially with the dynamic of social media, they feel like, oh, well, you look perfectly confident and you look like you're succeeding, online, and you look strong and you look this way in your videos. So you don't really need support. Your life seems to be going perfectly well from what I can see. But in reality, you're still a human being, because you're going after your dreams, or because maybe you're having an online business, or expressing yourself in whatever way, or mentoring or coaching people, whatever. People will watch you, but they don't really, family or friends or whoever, like maybe you've moved away from your hometown, whatever, but they don't really understand what you're going through. They just think because you've experienced some kind of validation, or some kind of other people validating you or celebrating you in that way, that somehow your life is perfect or complete. So there's a sense of like dehumanization, where you're not being treated as a whole person. It's like they're maybe forming a story about you, or coveting, or having this fantasy fairy tale idea of what your life is like. So that's the unfortunate part. But you realize also a lot of people come from this lack mentality in American culture, where they think that because you have the validation of others, somehow your life is now complete. When in reality, in a way it becomes harder the more you put yourself out there on social media, because you're also receiving the thought forms, the projections of judgmental people, gossipy people, evil eye. And they don't really know any better, because it's kind of this thing of like people that come from lack consciousness. And I know it's the way that we're programmed, but it's like they're always coveting what other people have, thinking that if I just get the money, if I just get the popularity, if I just get the fame, then my life will be complete. When in reality, I think that stuff actually brings more problems and more challenges. It's like you and I think people that have that would be able to explain some of that, just that people aren't really happy for you. As weird as it sounds, like it's a truth, because a lot of people aren't happy for themselves, and they don't have the capacity to be happy for themselves. So why would they be happy for you? It's like people, cheer you on, or root for you more when you're an underdog, and they perceive you as having less. But it's all so superficial and so shallow and so like just fake. This whole society is so fake. But you realize that the more you progress, the more you expand, the more you are like putting yourself out there in the world, and having wins every day, and maybe making more money, maybe just being more conquering your fears, conquering your demons, appearing as victorious in the world. You realize that people aren't happy for you, because all most people can think when they see you is, at least, especially for the people that grew up around you, or were close to you, or were in your social circles, or knew you in real life, they can only think like, oh, I wish, that you only remind them of what they don't have, and that makes them sad. And of course, like, it's just a human thing, right? Like, people can be sad, people can strive for higher, but I think you have to it's like you have to use the pain or the discomfort or the jealousy or whatever, or the hang-ups that you have in your own life to spark yourself, to spark forward and say, how can I apply these principles? But you just get sick of it, because actually the more you grow, the more you realize like it's actually lonely. The growth path is much more lonely, because like, as a person who puts videos and podcasts online, I have, my podcast, the Peter Diagnos podcast, which I like the audio format too. It's very lonely because, first of all, people in this society are not emotionally expressive. And that's always been like my wheelhouse, my language. Like, I just love to go deep. I love to just express. I'm an open book in that way, maybe too much in some ways. And that has scared some people or triggered some people, or just like, whoa, Peter, you're too intense. Peter, all this stuff, I don't get it, which is fine. It's not their thing, but also it's alienating, because people, could be watching you, but they don't ever really talk to you. Like, even a family member doesn't really talk to you or communicate with you just one-on-one, but they're like watching your stuff and they can watch you online. So it's like, you really have to open your heart, and you're giving so much, and you have to get used to like maybe not getting as much back energetically, or trusting that your consistency with putting out videos and the value you provide will find the right people, and it will find those aligned, soul family members, and like people that really resonate on your frequency. So, got some views of Sedona, Arizona here. But it's really unfortunate, because you realize like, the more you do put yourself out there, the more you like get that social proof of the validation from others, like more people are knowing you, the more like the really nasty side of some people comes out. And you see it, you can see it overtly and out in the open, but then you can also see it like that they're just not happy for you. They just don't like, and you're continuing to expand, right? You're continuing to grow, and you realize some people watching you that knew you or once knew you, or whatever they have their story about you, or they're clinging on to an old version of you. Maybe they're gossiping about you, trying to slander your name, whatever it is. But you realize they just don't want to see you happy. And like, the more you expand, the more you feel it almost like this, like you're pushing a boulder up a hill, because you can feel that there is that portion of people that don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to overcome. It's almost like you can telepathically receive it's like they're sending evil eye towards a future version of you in a future timeline, because they can see that you're on a path of leveling up and going towards more things. Or because deep down, people will fear you being more known or more seen, or experiencing more success, or having influence or impact in the world. That is what people fear the most. If they know your power and they see your power, the thing they will fear the most is influence and impact, because that means that they would no longer, people that were petty or evil eye or gossiping or trying to shape the views of other people that other people have towards you, what they fear the most is losing control of that. People that you used to like and feed off keeping you down, fear that the most. So really, that's really the confession of them, actually what shows that they know your power. They know that you're capable of it. And that's why even before you started to go for your dreams or be more powerful or express yourself, people were trying to cut you down, or there were group efforts, or people were having weird energy towards you. And people love to pretend that this dynamic is not there. They love to pretend in this good, happy boy consciousness that it's not there. And it's not that I like to fixate on it, like I'm addressing it and talking about it in this video, because it's a very real energy dynamic that you deal with in this world, in American culture. And I'd be interested to hear other cultures and countries, wherever you guys are, in the comments. I mean, let me know if it's any different, if it's better or worse in the sense of like gossip and jealousy and coveting and lack consciousness. Let me know where you're watching this video from in the comments, but I think you have to realize that those people deep down know your power. They know your power, and they're not coming from the same substance. They're not expressing from their soul substance, from their inner wealth, like that purity of heart, that purity, that power. So in a way, the gossip, the evil eye, the jealousy, even though it feels like this dense energy that's being sent towards you, and even after I release things online, I can feel this certain hitting a wall in certain ways, like Instagram or TikTok, or probably less so on YouTube, because YouTube's more like, and podcasts, it's like long form. You can really develop an idea. You can really go deep. And people that would be watching you want to go deep wouldn't be as prone to like those superficial, low vibrational energies. So that's why I've been making more long form stuff lately. But you got to realize, like, it's because people realize you're powerful, and they literally just don't speak that language. They don't speak that language of inner wealth, that heart wealth. And I'm not perfect, I can be triggered too. Like, I can be angered by myself too when I'm being lazy, when I'm not using my full potential. But some of us, maybe you resonate with the stuff I talk about. We're out in the world. We're trying to spark people. We're trying to catalyze people. We're trying to lead. We're trying to express. We're trying to speak up in this crazy clown world. And we're just doing our best. Definitely not a perfect person, but I don't know. We got to shake things up. We got to catalyze a bit. And that comes with some ugliness, some nastiness, some like just weird people and things. And it's such I can't overstate how weird a realization it is, because even people that you're close with, they just simply can't do any better than that they really, like, you have this idea that everyone wants you to succeed and everyone is rooting for you, and if you just heal your mental health and you just make more money and you're just doing better in the world, then they'll finally be happy and we'll all be one big happy blah blah blah. But you realize people are dealing with so much stuff that they have their own crap, and they project their issues onto you. They see you as a mirror. And someone said this to me the other day, like, and then eventually they get sick of looking into that mirror long enough, if you're embodying that energy, that power, that strength, that integrity, and they're not looking, they don't want to see what's in the mirror, they'll break the mirror. They want to smash the mirror, and then they lash out at you for like trying to show them a higher way or challenge them in some way. And I'm not saying that I'm a perfect pious priest or saint. I'm not always. I get angry, I get pissed, I get sad, I lash out sometimes. I always, try to correct my actions and be more careful with the people I love. And, but I have to express myself too. And that jealousy, it's a nasty one, and especially the gossip too, like, because if you're a sensitive and intuitive soul, you can sense when people are gossiping about you. And that's the weird thing, because when you put yourself out there online a lot, you realize, like, a lot of people, there'll be people around you, like adjacent to you, that you can feel have talked about you, but they've never said a word to you about it. So it's very weird. So in a way, being kind of like, in my true nature, there's a side of me that's like super shy, super introverted, super sensitive, private person. But since I've been more on this mission of putting myself out there, I realize, like, just this nasty, ugly side of humanity, which, there's also great, amazing people that I've met from putting myself out there, of course, but for the purposes of what I'm focusing on in this video, like, I've realized how ugly this world can be and how nasty people can be. And it feels like you're like so dehumanized that people would like talk behind your back or slander you, or just, I don't know, because a lot of people don't have anything better to do with their own life. They're not going to create anything. They're not going to speak up. They're not going to like come up with their own ideas and their own projects and their own thoughts and voice. So what else are they going to do but talk about people on social media, talk about the goings on and the creations and the ideas of others? The peanut gallery needs to keep itself busy somehow. But it's weird how people form this idea of you, like this fairy tale version of you in their head, especially if you're like working on emotional issues, you're working on like on the level of people's pain and depression and whatever. Just got my coffee here, but and you realize like people are using you to, they're not using you, but like you're helping them work through very intense pain and intense issues. And that's my thing. Like I like to go deep. I love to go deep. I love to hit that heart stuff. But you know, that's intense for me, I guess. Like even as a sensitive soul, it's intense being received. It's intense connecting, like even in a really positive way. But I'm talking to people that, you know, maybe are making videos or thinking about making videos or putting yourself out there in whatever way, shape, or form. You just got to realize like it's not your job to realize all the weirdness and the craziness, the good, the bad, the ugly, and of the ways people will respond and project their world onto you with online stuff. You got to just put it out there and let it be like, all right, you're sort of using me as a way to process or whatever, or projecting your thoughts or ideas, but in a way it has nothing to do with me. Like in a way, it's great. It also is great to connect with people on the same frequency that are like, hey, like you're speaking my innermost pain or my innermost thoughts. But I think it's just strange to see how, as a content creator, you really, you know, it's all about consistency. You got to be your own best friend, your own coach, your own motivational speaker. And you realize like you're not going to be getting clapped for and cheered on all the time. You know, sometimes it's just, you don't feel like putting out videos. You don't feel like being vulnerable. You don't feel like doing anything. You just want to crawl in a hole or hibernate for 3-4 months. That's how I feel. You know, I'm very out there, but also I'm like a very shy and quiet person. And sometimes I really just want like to be around that soul family and those people that just love me for me, that aren't judging me or projecting or competing, because that high school popularity contest crap just gets so exhausting. So you need those people that see you for you and just really like are there for you. And I think, yeah, especially with like the gossip, the jealousy, the evil eye, if you realize it's like a force or an energy that's being sent your way, like if you stay in your faith and you stay in your power and you realize you can transmute anything into love, you can transmute anything into deeper power, eventually those tables will turn. It could be months, it could be like long periods of time that people are having that energy toward you where they don't want you to succeed, but you realize, you know, your soul is much more powerful than any of that. And when you're on the side of faith and integrity, God will always pay you back 1,000-fold. God will send the cavalry. Your energy will pay off. And it will boomerang. So gossip and all that, it's like jealousy, evil eye. You got to realize like you're doing it for such a greater purpose, and you're going to connect with so many amazing people just by putting yourself out there. So don't give in to the superficial reality of like comparison and judgment and like high school popularity contest. And in a way, like I said before, it speaks to your power and your capabilities that people would want to come against you or would fear you or would like just don't like you because you remind them of their own inadequacies, you know? And I don't like to fixate on this. I don't like to talk about this a lot. Like I'm not trying to be paranoid in that way. You know, I try to focus on the positive, but it inevitably is part of the game. It's part of this reality where some people are just, it's like two different languages. It's like, you know, two different languages that are just radically different or would be super hard to learn, because when you come from your heart, you come from a pure intention, and then there's people that are more like copying and angling and manipulating and trying to win this or just for superficial reasons. But that's a weird realization when you realize a lot of people just, they're kind of cowardly, like they're kind of spineless in a way because they're not owning their own power and they don't wanna, so they wouldn't like to see someone owning their own power, right? And it's hard for me, like this world is a struggle, this world is painful, there's heartbreaks, there's nastiness, there's betrayal, there's tons of pain in the world if you're a sensitive soul. And you realize like there's people that act like so weird to you or would like put you down or be passive aggressive or just have weird underlying resentment towards you when you're didn't even do anything wrong with them and you're like in your worst heartbroken moments and you realize they still are acting like petty and weird and they're still like subtly afraid of you or afraid of your power. So it's just good to be around and align with those souls that really see you and aren't playing those stupid games. So like you really do have to change who you're around when you choose growth. You choose like, hey, I'm on my highest path and my highest mission and I'm gonna do the work, I'm gonna heal myself, I'm gonna like try to get better every day, fall on my face, I'm imperfect, I have faults, I have all of this, I'm not perfect at all, but I'm trying. And it's weird to realize like how few people actually choose to be on that path and do this work. And you realize like it's such worthwhile work, It's lonely for a while. You may have felt betrayed like by family, friends, whatever, like just leveling up. People aren't supportive at all. They pretend to. I feel like some people are genuinely supportive. Like I shouldn't say there aren't those people, but more percentage-wise, there's more people that like maybe will pretend to be supportive, but they're not really. They just are kind of silent towards you or have nothing to say. And they're not like, like how many people in your life do you have that are just genuinely happy to see you happy? Not even talking about money or success or any of that superficial, shallow crap. Like just genuinely happy to see you overcome an obstacle, get through a heartbreak, get through grief, like just genuinely excited. Like, hey, like your heart is healed, you're smiling, you're laughing. I love to see that. Like you're my friend and I'm just happy to see that you're shining and can feel love in the world, regardless of any of the other superficial crap. How many people in your life do you have like that? Because that's what I consider a real friend. Like, are you happy to see me happy? Because if I have a real friend or a family member, like, I just love to see you smile. I love to see you smiling and able to feel love. Because what the hell else does all the other crap mean if you can't smile and feel love and feel cared for in the world? So I'll end it there, but thank you for listening and thank you for tuning in and thanks for like just being part of the world and doing the work every day. Check out the Peter Diagnos podcast if you feel inclined on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That's different content, long form audio. But I have these views here of Sedona. So it's kind of a rainy day out here today. So stay strong, keep moving forward, and just trust and know that those loving people are coming to you, and your faith will be rewarded. It will.